What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this quick conversation of A Tale of Two Marriages, the marriage of Monique Samuels and the marriage of Cynthia Bailey. Let's talk about Monique Samuels first. So, Monique Samuels, she is from the Real Housewives of Potomac. She left the Real Housewives of Potomac and got her own reality TV show called Love and Marriage DC, where her and her husband are featured, and I think two or three other couples as well. Now, when she was still on the Real Housewives of Potomac, by the way, her husband Chris Samuels, he's a a retired NFL football player, and evidently has done very well for himself in the NFL and has done very well for himself outside the NFL as well. So when they were on the Real Housewives of Potomac, we didn't see too much of what was going on with their marriage. We just kind of saw glimpses. And one of the major things that was going on in their marriage back then, when they were on that show, was that Monique did not get along with her mother in law at all. Those two women absolutely did not like each other. The mother in law felt like her son could have done a whole lot better than Monique, felt like that Monique was not the right wife for Chris. I guess because Monique wasn't like traditional enough. And so they didn't get along at all. They've been married right now, they've been married almost 10 years. And I don't know how long it was when that particular show aired or when that episode aired, but they had been married for a couple of years, for a few years. And I think they even had two children already at that time. And the mother-in-law just was not feeling Monique. She even went as far as to call Monique. I think she even referred to her as a gold digger. I think, but I'm not sure. She did not like Monique at all. So that was one issue. It really wasn't directly related to their marriage, but not getting along with your mother-in-law and having that much animosity between you and your mother-in-law could be problematic. Then there was another incident that I can remember from the top of my head. There could have been others, but this is what I remember. There was another incident where Monique and Chris had invited all of the couples on the Real Housewives of Potomac, invited them to their one of their vacation homes. And one of the activities that they were doing, just for fun, was to get up and imitate your spouse. I think that's how it went. I could be wrong. So when it was Chris's turn to imitate Monique, I think there was like a really huge inflated bottle of champagne or something. It was some type of a some type of an inflated object. I think it was a bottle of champagne. I don't really remember, but it was some huge inflated object, and he was imitating Monique, and this huge inflated object was supposed to represent a certain part of his anatomy. And he was doing this impression of her not being able to handle this big inflated object. And so I thought it was kind of pushing a little bit too far to kind of indicate that your wife isn't willing to do certain things in the bedroom with you, and then you're putting it out there on Front Street like that in front of these other couples on television. And I was kind of like, it took me by surprise that he would have done that, because I thought it was embarrassing, really embarrassing for Monique. I'm not sure exactly how she took it, I don't remember, but I was like, oh my God, Chris, you're going a little bit too far. So then when they were on Love and Marriage DC, then you really got to see the cracks of their marriage. And I thought that they had huge gaping cracks in their marriage, because there are some couples that when they don't get along, they still are respectable with one another. And I understand when you're married and when you love hard, the fights can get kind of nasty. Okay, that's understandable. But there are couples who can fight respectably. There are couples who can fight really nasty, but they keep it behind closed doors. And then there are couples who fight nasty and they don't give a damn who sees. So they're in the third category, because on Love and Marriage DC, when they would get into their fights, they would fight in front of their friends. There was a dinner party that they themselves hosted at their own home, and they got into a fight. It was something so petty, so insignificant, and it was nasty. It got to a point where Chris even told her to shut up, and then she told him, you don't tell me to shut up. And then they just kept on arguing, and this is at the dinner table, and their friends are there, and everybody is uncomfortable, and everybody's watching them, and nobody knows exactly what to do. Like, do we intervene? Do we just let them play it out until it ends on its own, or what? And that's how they are. And when they get upset with each other, I don't know if it's the alcohol, if there's alcohol involved, I don't know what it is, but when they get upset with each other and there happens to be people around, they don't care. So on Love and Marriage DC, from what I could gather, and this is my own personal opinion from what I saw on the show, Monique has changed a lot. I'm pretty sure she's not the same woman that she was when she had first married Chris Samuels. I feel like when she first married him, she was very dependent on him. And, she was kind of getting along, to get along and just doing whatever she had to do to make him happy, to be the wife that he wanted and whatever. And I think as time went on, she sort of evolved. And maybe with the success of her reality TV shows, and she kind of found herself maybe. And she just began to I feel like she began to change a lot. And she became one of those people that becomes more spiritually in tuned. She became a vegan because in Love and Marriage DC, she was definitely vegan. She was one of those people, I guess, that are very in touch with their spirituality and the universe and the earth. And I don't really know what that type of person is called, if there even is a label for that, but just those people that they're very elevated. Okay, they're extremely elevated. They meditate, they do yoga, they want to be at one with the universe, that kind of a person. And Chris definitely is not that. Okay, here's your average, regular schmegler kind of guy, likes to watch football, go have a couple of beers with the boys, go fishing, play sports, just your regular average guy. And so I felt like Monique, as she was changing and becoming more elevated, she expected Chris to follow suit. And Chris, in my opinion, really wants to keep his marriage intact. He really wants to stay with Monique. And so he was doing whatever he could to make her happy. So she would assign him all of these tasks to do for him to become more enlightened and more elevated. And he would definitely do them, but he would do them at his own time. So when he wouldn't do them when she wanted them done, she would get really upset with him. They'd have an argument. And I remember one time on the show, he told her, look, I'm not at the level that you're at as far as like, spiritual enlightenment. He goes, I'm not there yet, but I'm working towards that. But I'm working towards that at my own pace. I cannot get there as fast as you did or as fast as you want me to. I'm going to get there and it's going to be at my own pace. So that was one of their major issues. She would always get upset with him because he didn't do whatever task, like writing in his journal, putting down his deep innermost thoughts. When he did do them, it wasn't good enough. Okay, so she would look at his journal or look at his list and she would say, well, this isn't deep enough. You didn't go deep enough. You need to go deeper into your soul, or whatever she would say. And it was just like, what is going on with these people? So obviously on the show, they had some serious issues. When I watched them on the show, I was like, there's no way this marriage is going to last, because I felt like Monique had outgrown Chris. I felt like Monique was looking for something different. Her life was headed in a completely different direction. And instead of like maybe the average guy, maybe kind of like looking at his wife and thinking to himself, okay, you're going that way and I'm going this way, or you're going that way and I'm still here. This isn't going to work because I'm not going to go in your direction. I'm not going to live like that. I'm still going to be me. So if you're changing and I'm not changing, maybe we need to go our separate ways. But Chris, he's so infatuated with Monique that he was willing to change. Now can you just imagine this big ex-football player, guy's guy, kind of guy, doing yoga, becoming enlightened, writing in his journal every day? That's what Monique had him doing. So I felt like Monique was kind of, in a way, she wanted to pull, like she wanted it to appear like she was pulling Chris closer to her, trying to pull Chris in her direction. But I really think that she was actually pushing him away, and she was pushing him away on purpose. I feel like instead of just blatantly saying, hey, this isn't working, I'm changing, I'm different, I want something different, she was going to like frustrate him to the point where he would want to leave the marriage or something. That's kind of like how I felt. I could be completely wrong, but that's kind of like how I felt, because she was obviously not happy with him. He was trying to make her happy and it was not good enough. She was not happy with that man. That's how it appeared on the show. Now, if it was all an act for ratings, they did a damn good job because it looked like that marriage had hit rock bottom. So then these rumors start circulating recently about Chris and Monique separating. And then at BravoCon, I think Ashley was asked, because I don't think Monique was at BravoCon. Some reports said that she wasn't. Some reports said that she was. Some reports said she was, but only on the red carpet. I don't know. So at BravoCon, I guess the question was posed to Ashley Darby, asking her either where's Monique or what's going on with Monique, because there's these rumors circulating that her and Chris had separated. And Ashley Darby had confirmed that Monique and Chris had separated. Well, after that, Monique did an Instagram post flashing her ring with Chris next to her, saying that separated who or separated what or something to that effect. I don't know. But basically saying we're not separated. We are still together. Our marriage is still going strong. And so she did an interview. I'm pretty sure she did several interviews, but one of the ones that I read, she admitted that definitely her marriage is struggling in some areas, but they're not getting a divorce. Monique also said that what y'all saw on Love and Marriage DC last season was my cry for help. She said that it felt like Chris was not listening to her when she told him about her needs or things that she had issues with. So she's like, and she says that she's very open and very transparent with herself and with her marriage, to the point where she gets criticized for it, because and she gets judged for it, for being open and honest about what she and Chris are going through. Totally understandable. Okay, totally understandable. I agree with that. A rumor starting that wasn't based on facts. Okay, that happens every day in Hollywood. Okay, so we got that resolved. She came out and she confirmed that no, we're not getting a divorce. But in my personal opinion, I feel like that marriage is really, really struggling. And I don't know how much life it has left. I hope that they stay together because they have three beautiful children. And, something has made them last for this long, for 10 years or nearly 10 years. Oh, and another thing on the show, she was constantly asking the other, like there was one particular couple that had been together like over 20 years. And Monique was constantly asking that couple, so what's the secret? What do y'all do to stay together for so long? What advice can you give those of us who haven't been married as long? So you could tell that she was really seeking help, advice, or whatever to help her marriage. And so I'm hoping that they can work it out because nobody wants to see a family broken up. But I feel like that marriage needs a lot of help, a lot of help. And Chris loves that woman because he's willing to change for her. I just don't know if that's going to be good enough for Monique. Monique is the kind of person, it's like either you're going to keep up with me or you're going to get left behind. So you're going to go in my direction or I'm going to leave you over there and we're going to go our separate ways. That's the kind of woman that she appears to be to me. She's made up her mind of how she wants to live her life now, and he needs to fit into that, into this new way of living. Is like he needs to fit into that, and she's not gonna accept anything else. Or I wonder if she kind of wishes that she could be with a man that was already at that level that she's at, that's already vegan and spiritual and enlightened and elevated. If she wishes that she could be with a man like that already. I don't know, but yeah, I pray that that marriage stays together because they want to be together and also because for the children. I don't want anyone to stay together just for the kids, but hopefully that they're able to work out their differences. And if not, if they do have to go through separate ways, I hope it's going to be in the best way possible for the sake of the children. Moving on to Cynthia Bailey. Not much to say there except that, whereas Monique had to shut down the rumors and say that she was still married, Cynthia Bailey confirmed that her and Mike Hill have definitely divorced. They've gone their separate ways. And to me, I'm not really surprised because I never really saw like a big romantic spark between Mike Hill and Cynthia Bailey. I thought they got along great. I thought they were better off as friends than lovers or husband and wife. I definitely saw that they liked each other, that they enjoyed each other's company. And for a lot of people, they're like, a lot of people might say, well, that should be the basis of all marriages, that you like each other, that you are really good friends. That should be the foundation of all marriages. But I didn't see like a romantic spark between Cynthia and Mike. I felt like they were forcing it. They were forcing to appear like they were just so very passionate about one another, deeply in love. I thought that they liked each other deeply, but I did not really see anything really like crazy romantic. Excuse me, or any kind of like crazy chemistry. I really didn't see it between them. And I remember whatever season it was of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, I guess now maybe going back 2 seasons ago, before they got married in October of 2020, when they were planning their wedding, I remember Cynthia pitching a fit because she had to get married on 10/10/2020, 10/10/2020. It had to be that date no matter what. It had to happen on that date. Whereas Mike was trying to tell her it doesn't matter as long as we get married. I don't care where I marry you, when I marry you, or how I marry you, as long as I marry you. And she was like, no, 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 we have to get married 10/10/10/10. It has to be 10/10. So they got married 10/10, and it's like, all for what now? I mean, did you feel like, Cynthia, did you feel like, oh, if we don't get married on 10/10, then we're going to end up getting divorced? Do those numbers mean something to you where you felt like, okay, these are going to be our lucky numbers, and it's going to indicate that we're going to have a long lasting marriage? Like, why did those dates mean so much? Because that was like a huge deal on that show, for like 1 or 2 episodes, that she was worried it wasn't going to be on 10/10. So the date, at the end of the day, the date did not matter whatsoever. So they've gone their separate ways. Cynthia says that they are still going to be very good friends. And that's how Cynthia is. Have you noticed her pattern? Cynthia is extremely likable. She seems like a very, very nice person. She's not a good Big Brother player, but she seems like a very, very nice person and very likable. Everybody loves Cynthia Bailey. She's good friends so far with 2 of her exes that she had been in very long-term relationships with. The first one being Leon, who is the father of her daughter. They're in a long-term relationship and they're still good friends. I mean, of course, they have a daughter together. Then there's Peter Thomas. They weren't married for that long, but they still remain friends. And then, of course, now we have Mike Hill, not married for very long, but also, she's going to be really good friends with him. So I don't know what it is. Cynthia is nice enough, I guess, where people don't want them completely out of their life. They still want to keep her around as a really good friend because she seems like a very, like a sweetheart. Like, who cannot like Cynthia Bailey? I think she said that she's just going to chill for now. She's not going to rush into another relationship. Definitely not rush into another marriage. So, good for her to spend, some time reflecting and becoming a better her. But the question of, like, little side note now, the question of whether or not she should come back to the Real Housewives of Atlanta, I say emphatically no. I think that she should come back definitely as a friend of the show, but not as a peach holder, because I don't find her very interesting on the show. She's extremely likable. There's nothing wrong with her as a person, her character, none of that. It's just that for reality TV, I don't think she's reality TV material. I think she does so much better just as a friend, to be that friend that can kind of keep you level, keep you balanced, give you good advice. Pops in now and then, but I can't take her for an entire season. So I don't want her to come back as a peach holder. She definitely could come back as a friend of the show, or not at all. I'll be fine with that. Not to say that I don't like her. I just don't think she's reality TV material. Some people are just above it all, and she's one of them. She's just too good for this kind of, trashy TV. So yeah, that is my little review. Oh, not review. My little conversation on A Tale of Two Marriages. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, don't forget to rate the video. And if you like this content, go ahead and subscribe. And I would definitely talk to you later. Bye.